Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video, and it's actually been quite a while. It's been 2 weeks. I took a nice vacation, very happy I did, and as far as I'm aware, not everyone abandoned me while I was gone, so it's a win-win. So not only have I not made a video for 2 weeks, I haven't made a video since the last decade. It is 2020 and that means a brand new year. So we came back from vacation in 2020, I'm feeling refreshed, I'm excited and really stoked to start making content again in the new decade. Now, one thing that is going to be changing in the new year is I have made a Discord, or rather I should say that I was too lazy to make a Discord and a friend of mine made it for me. It's all going to be about flipping, money making, PVM, whatever you want. If you're in the clan chat or just watch my YouTube videos, I would love if you came and stopped by. There will be a link in the description for that. Now today I'm going to be going over 10 free-to-play moneymakers that work well in 2020, and I'm really excited to share them with you. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest, I actually haven't tried this method before, but it seems kind of flawless to me. Now the first thing I wanted to look at here is an interesting shop that I've never really looked at before, and that is Drogo's Mining Emporium. Interestingly, he actually has a gold bar in this shop, which means we can actually go ahead and sell them. And currently he will buy the gold bars for 210 GP each, and I bought them on the Grand Exchange for 81. Which means that is a very big margin. Now this shop is located in the Falador Dwarven Mine. You can access it either from Falador or from just west of the monastery. Now what's really nice is you can sell noted items here, so let's go ahead and sell 5 of them. Now the value dropped to 180, but that is still a very good profit. If we sell down to 10 in the shop, down to 150, again that's still profitable. Let's sell another 10. Down to 90. So it's profitable all the way down to 20 sold. So 20 gold bars I bought from the Grand Exchange for 1.6k, and we sold them for 3,060, which means we very quickly made 1.5k per world hop. So in 1 minute I was able to do about 4 different world hops, which means that is about 6.5k a minute. Wow, that's really good. Or 388k per hour in its current state. The only minor bottleneck is the amount of worlds this is in, but otherwise no requirements, not even much money required to start doing this. So wow, that was actually really good. That's probably like going to be one of the best methods. Okay, next up here is one of my favorite methods for free to play, and the reason for that is it's actually a combat moneymaker, which is very rare for free to play, and on top of that it's actually pretty competitive. Probably the most profitable monster to kill in free-to-play, beyond maybe the ogresses, is the imp, the plain old-fashioned imp. And the reason for that is the imp has a few very valuable drops, the main one being the Mind Talisman, which is worth about 5k each and drops at a rate of around 1 in 20. And on top of that, it drops a bunch of different colored beads, which are all worth around 1k each, which makes it probably the most consistent monster to kill for profit. Now the best place to kill it is near the Karamjan volcano because there's just a ton of spawns there. I think there's at least 7 or 8 different imp spawns. I would recommend killing the imps with magic or ranged, but really it doesn't matter too much. Using a ranged attack though will make things a bit easier and make it so you don't have to run around to obscure places so much. To do this effectively, you probably want to be able to hit at least 8 damage because they do teleport around, which makes it a lot slower. But on average, I was getting around 75k to 100k an hour just in Mind Talisman drops, as well as the beads. And unlike most of these methods, you're also going to be getting combat experience, which makes this method very good for free to play. Now, one really simple method that actually is a lot more profitable now after a fairly recent change, that probably wasn't that recent anymore, it's probably a year or 2 ago, but that is collecting anti-dragonfire shields. The shield didn't used to have a requirement to equip it, but now you do need to at least have started Dragon Slayer, which is given a higher requirement and a higher margin for collecting. However, to have the ability to actually purchase them from the shop, you will need to have completed Dragon Slayer. Now you can get about 100k an hour here doing it, more or less depending on your efficiency. Now you want to start from the Edgeville Bank with maybe 100,000 GP. From here we're going to run up to Oziark. Oziak? Oh shit. Oops, I've been saying his name wrong all this time. From here we're going to go ahead and trade him. And we're going to go ahead and buy a full inventory of anti-dragonfire shields. They start at 8 GP and will go up to around 36 if you buy a full inventory. If we go ahead and price check it, we're going to make around 1.2k per inventory. From here, you want to go ahead and walk back. The reason for that is you have a much higher weight, which means you'll burn through your run energy much quicker. Once you have deposited them, turn your run energy back on, they restock ridiculously quickly, and from here walk back. I like this method because it's actually pretty AFK. You get about 10 or 15 seconds while you run back to the bank, which makes it pretty low intensity. Okay, so next up here I have another method that you may recognize from one of my recent videos, and that is buying items from the Grand Exchange and selling them to specialty shops. A lot of money making methods rely on this mechanic or the reverse of this mechanic, but I'm going to highlight some of these specific armor and weapon shops that I think are going to be the best. Now there are quite a few different armor and weapon shops throughout Gielinor. For example, one really good one is the plate skirt shop in Al Kharid. A really easy way to find this out is to go into the wiki and look up the shop. There will actually even be a table that shows you the GE price and the price that the shop will buy it at. For example, the adamant plate skirt has a 500 GP margin, which means we'll get 500 GP per item we sell. The mithril plate skirt has about a 400 or 500 GP, and the steel plate skirt even has a pretty good margin. So all you have to do is sell 1, 2, or even 5 items per world and then hop to a free world. Now the only restricting factor is the buy-in limit from the Grand Exchange, which is 125 for most of these items, but still, for example, in my Bond video I ended up making around 100k in only about 5 minutes. Now this won't be consistent money, but if you plan ahead, put an offer in overnight, you can actually make a ton of consistent money. Now on top of the plate skirt shop, I would recommend the plate leg shop, the plate body shop, the shield shop, and even the helmet store. You can pretty much do this with every shop. However, some are going to be more worth your time than others. Okay, next up here is kind of an interesting money making method. I personally wouldn't do this for a very long amount of time. But it's a magic training method and it's fairly profitable for free to play, and that is casting the bones to banana spell. I will admit this method is a bit of a grind. You can get around 130k GP per hour and has a fairly low skill requirement. The main problem is it's very click intensive, and to successfully do this for an hour you need actually about 2 million GP, but it definitely is an option if you want to get a bit of magic training in and you have very strong wrists. Now it is a very simple method. Simply you just have to withdraw bones, cast the spell, deposit the bananas, and withdraw the bones. Now this will definitely depend on the price of bananas, and I probably wouldn't recommend doing this for more than maybe an hour because 20,000 bananas could take a while to sell. But really any money making method that allows you to get experience at the same time in free to play is good in my books. Now one money making method that I have done in a lot of my free to play videos that initially I thought was just a fluke, but has turned out to be a pretty consistent method, is buying steel pickaxes from Nermoth. Now steel pickaxes are pretty much always and very frequently worth around 1000 GP on the Grand Exchange. However, you're able to actually buy them from Nermoth for around 500 GP. In my Bond from Scratch video, I was actually selling the steel pickaxes for 2000 each, but even at around a 500 GP margin, you're going to get around 15,000 GP per inventory, which is quite good. I've ranged anywhere from getting around 75k an hour doing this, all the way up to around 250k. Although that was fairly lucky. Now Nermoth is located in the Dwarven Mine, once again slightly west of method number 1. No requirements for this method, just a bit of cash. The only other requirement I would recommend is either the Falador teleport if you have the magic level requirement, otherwise you can teleport back to Varrock with the Chronicle. You definitely want to teleport or else this is going to take a lot longer. On average, I could do a run in around 5 minutes if you're doing the Falador method, and I think a bit longer if you are doing the Chronicle method. I would recommend doing this for maybe half an hour or an hour at a time and see how quickly these steel pickaxes are selling, because you don't really want to get stuck with too many of them. Now, another method I find actually fairly relaxing is buying gems from the gem trader, either in Al Kharid or in Falador. Now, once again, no requirement for this method, and you don't really even need that much money. I have 100k, but you could get away with much less than that. And all you need to do is buy a few different items from the different shops and sell them on the Grand Exchange. You definitely want to buy any of the uncut gems in stock. That being said, sapphires are still profitable. However, emeralds are not worth your time. Obviously, in free to play, this could easily be contested, but you can try between the two different locations. And although not too many people can do this at once, I've actually had a fair bit of success doing it lately. Generally, you're going to be better off doing this at off-peak hours, because right now I'm probably only going to get maybe 30 or 40k an hour, but if you get lucky, you can make upwards of 100k an hour, although that doesn't really seem to be the case today. Okay, another fairly simple method that can be done from pretty much anywhere is Enchanting Jewelry. Now this can be done with a wide variety of different items. I just went ahead and price checked one item right now, and that is enchanting the Amulet of Strength. Currently there is a 225 GP margin enchanting Amulets of Strength, which is very good. That's probably about 200k to 250k an hour. Now for this method specifically, you'll need 49 magic for the level 3 enchant. However, it's going to vary based on what item you're doing. In free to play, the highest level enchant is going to be diamond, which means you'll only need a maximum of 57 magic. So pretty much all you need to do is buy the amulets unenchanted. Now there's two different ways you can do this. Fortunately, they did make this an automatic process if you want to do this in a fairly AFK method, which honestly I would probably recommend doing, even though it's going to be cutting into your profit per hour by quite a bit. Having an AFK way to do this is going to be much more powerful than clicking individually, but just keep in mind it is very slow. Now with the level 3 enchant, I'm going to be getting around 50,000 XP per hour and around 100k GP per hour at the current rates, which is a very good trade-off, especially in free to play. Now coming at number 9 is a less consistent method, but one that I have had a lot of success on before, and that is buying blue capes from the Champion Guild shop. Now what's really nice is the Chronicle teleports you directly here, which means there is very little time banking. Now realistically, you'll want to probably teleport to Varrock, bank it, Chronicle back here, which will make it around to maybe a 300 GP round trip. If you don't have to teleport to Varrock, you can just run up to the bank and teleport back with the Chronicle. Or if for some reason you don't have both, I guess you can just walk back and forth, but I would highly recommend having at least the Chronicle. Now you want to talk to Villain, who is upstairs, and you'll notice she sells blue capes for 41 GP each. And on the Grand Exchange right now, they're going for around 350. However, I checked on GE Tracker and they're selling for about 500 each, which means every world hop we're going to make around 800 GP. Now, as this is in the Champions Guild, you actually need to have completed Dragon Slayer for this method. So it's kind of a high requirement for free to play, but a really nice method that actually makes a significant amount of money. You just have to be a bit patient while selling off the capes. Occasionally, I've seen the capes sell for 1000 GP each, which would make you a lot of money very quickly, but still one of my favorite methods. And last up here, coming in at number 10, is another shop selling method, and this one is very versatile, and that is going to be the Bandit Shop. I have highlighted it before, but when I did it in my more recent video, I was actually making 800k an hour, which is ridiculous for free to play. That being said, I was risking quite a lot. If you wanted to do a pretty reasonable risk, it would probably bump it down to maybe 400 or 500k an hour. Now the way this works is buying items on the Grand Exchange that have a good alch value, but you can purchase them for a lower price. Now mainly you're going to want to focus on cheaper stackable items. Now the reason you want cheaper items is because the risk is lower and the return on your investment is going to be a lot higher. So I would focus on gold jewelry items, armor pieces, and really anything you can buy for cheap and has a good alch value. If you look at my inventory right now, there are a few good options. Otherwise, you can actually just go to the Bandit Shop, hop through a couple worlds and find someone doing this method and see what items they have chosen. Although most of the time it is more ideal if you can find your own item, as you won't be contesting over the shop quantity. Now to start doing this, I would recommend probably at least 1 million GP as well as 25 magic, because you do want to wait out of the wilderness, as Teleblock is free to play and they do have access to stun spells, so there is a higher risk of you dying, although not that high. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate it if you left the video a like. Once again, if you want to come check out my Discord, I'll be there right after this video is uploaded just to say hello. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.